So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is your fight is in a couple of weeks.
Correct.
Where are you now in your preparations for your fight?
There's 2 weeks. So as of tomorrow, it'll be 2 weeks to go. So just adding the final touches to the camp, basically.
What does the first few weeks before a fight typically look like for you? Because I could imagine that it would be pretty hectic.
Not really. So I was taught as well, sorry, to always be in training. So when a fight finishes, I might have like 1 or 2 weeks off, but then I'm back in the gym, just working on things and always staying relatively ready. So at the beginning of this camp was just more so, okay, want to dial in on working on a few things for my opponent and just like polishing up, like making sure those little things don't get away from me. I might stack on like a little bit more like cardio work and a bit more strength work, and that's about it really.
So just for those who aren't like haven't been following you with your journey or have just started, how would you introduce yourself?
So my boxing journey kind of started a little bit unorthodox, I guess, and unconventional. So I started off helping a friend of mine in the boxing gym because I was a tennis coach prior to this. So he said his classes grew too big and he wanted me to see if I could help him out, coach the beginners. So that's what I did. I learned how to teach it, and over time he was really good. He gave me more responsibility and took me along to fights, and I learned how to coach fighters. And then I got to a point where I couldn't spot the things that needed to be fixed on like really quickly. I could see it after, and I said, how can I be a better coach? So he said, you have to compete. So next thing you know, I'm in the ring competing after a little bit of a train. So I started training, and then 6 months into it, jumped in the ring and started competing. And then from there, I actually fell in love with competing more than coaching.
You mentioned that you did do tennis before. Did you find that a little bit difficult considering they're like the sports are two completely different things?
Um, yes and no. So that the obviously the fitness side is different and how you would train is slightly different. However, the big thing that I had on my side was the mentality, because tennis is a very individual sport. And you're not allowed during a match, there is no coaching. So in that side of things, it's yeah, I learned to, kind of like self coach, and mindset a little bit different for individual sport, which kind of helps out in the boxing. So even though you have a coach there, sometimes you do feel a bit alone in the ring and have to sort out, problem solve a little bit for yourself if you can't quite hear your coach or can't execute what your coach is asking you to do.
And do you feel that's helped in terms of your mindset? From
100%. Definitely going from individual sport to individual sport has helped with the mindset. Realizing that yes, I have a team. However, I also have to be motivated myself, and there's nowhere to hide. If I don't do the work, there's no one else that can help like pick up the slack for me.
back to your fight that's in a few weeks' time, I noticed that it's your first fight in a while.
Correct. Yeah. So I fought in March, and then yeah, it's been a little bit longer this year to secure another fight, but I'm pretty happy to be fighting basically in 2 weeks time. So I've stayed pretty active as in training wise and just being ready, staying ready.
Is there something like a technique or something in particular that you're working on for this fight, particularly?
Oh, there's many things. So it's just a lot of it's more so staying like presenting the best version of myself basically. I want to come out in this and actually display a bit of boxing skills. In my other fights I might not have displayed that as well as I could have. So this fight I really trying to use a little bit more my brains and my experience to and actually use it. because sometimes when you're in the fight, you just resort to instinct, and sometimes my instincts isn't exactly boxing style.
Yeah. And when you say your instincts aren't boxing styles, could you like elaborate a little bit further on what you mean?
Sometimes it can appear like it's brawling.
How so?
So like, you know, the wild shots come out. So this for me, this camp has been about keeping everything a little bit much more neat and tidier, and not so wild and loose, basically.
And heading into the fight uh, that's coming up, what are you hoping to show on the night for for yourself? What are you hoping to show?
For myself, I hope to achieve what I have been doing in training, keeping my composure and not letting the situation and my emotions overrun me, which has happened a few times in other fights. So it's the work has been done there. So my biggest thing is to actually be able to display it. So, and also be able to display that in front of a home crowd as well.
Also did want to ask you outside of boxing, because it is a physical sport, what are some things that you like to do to relax when you aren't fighting?
I spend a lot of time. I love nature. I really, really enjoy nature, and where I live, I'm very blessed to be facing nature. So I quite often enjoy just going for a walk out in nature. Or right now, being colder in winter, I make it a bit of a ritual. At least once over the weekend, I'll light a fire in the fire pit and just sit there and just chill out with my little dog. So that's what I genuinely enjoy doing, and just being enjoying nature, really.
That does sound relaxing.
Yeah,
And you said you have a dog. Could you like share what the dog's name is and the breed?
yeah. He's I acquired him nearly a year ago,
Oh
and his
yeah,
name is Leon,
yeah.
and he's a poodle cross schnauzer Maltese Shih Tzu. So it came pretty funny. I wasn't supposed to have a dog, but he kind of chose me, and when the time came, I didn't have the heart to have him go to someone else. So I said to the owner of the breeder that I would take him.
It sounds like you both are enjoying each other and each other company, by the fire.
Yeah, 100%. He keeps me very honest and very truthful, as in he doesn't play games, and he, you know, if he's cracked the shits with me, I'll know about it. But if he's loving me and wanting to be with me, he's always around me.
Yeah, yeah. And do you like sometimes have him when you're training? He's beside you.
Oh, definitely. So I work at a gym, and he always comes there with me. I always ask him if he wants to come, and some mornings when it's a bit too early, he doesn't want to come. He likes to stay at home in the warmth, but then other mornings he's just hot on my tails, and he gets to come with me wherever I go. I always ask him what he wants to do, and if he wants to come, he comes. If he doesn't, I just leave him be and do his thing. So at training, yeah, there's a gym I do some strength work out of, and they're really good. They let me have him there. He just curls up and watches me do my thing, basically.
I did want to ask you as well because you did come into the sport from with the tennis background and coaching and now boxing. Who is someone or a few people that's helped shape your journey the most, you feel?
Oh, that's a toughie. Um, I'd have to say, shape the most. It's tough to say, because I feel that every experience or every coach that I've had encounters with, they've taught me something. Whether or not in that moment I appreciated the lesson or not, when I go back and I reflect, I spend a lot of time reflecting on situations and how things turn out. And most of the time, it's like, oh wow, that was a really cool lesson I needed to learn. Um, One of the first lessons I ever learned from boxing was I've been one of those people that were pretty relaxed in life, so I just go with the flow. And one day I remember I had to fight It's a pretty important fight in my mind. And I was sitting in front of my house, and next thing you know, my heart was racing, and I didn't know what was going on. So I rang up at my time my high performance coach, and I said, I think there's something wrong with my heart. And I said, I've got to go compete in a few days. And she goes, oh, what's going on? And I told her, and she's like, oh, you're just having a panic attack. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, I've never had a panic attack before. And so that happened, and I was like, oh, wow, that's just incredible, realizing that that happened based on a thought. So I've spent a lot of time actually trying to control my thoughts and just like manage them so they don't overwhelm me a lot. So that's probably one of the best lessons. And I thought to myself, if I can manage it and understand it a bit better, then not only does it do well for me in the boxing world, but it for the rest of my life, basically.
And would you say that's made it a bit more tougher given the type of environment that boxing is, because it is pretty like fast paced a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely. But then I always think about it like, oh, in normal life. So I got back into tennis a little bit this year, and it's it makes life easier out there. Like for me in the other sport and even in life, it's like, oh, it's I get time to process those emotions and my thoughts and that a little bit better because it's not so confined and fast paced. So it has definitely helped being able to do that a little bit better in the boxing world to then transfer it over to the rest of my life, basically.
Um, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because I did ask you for 10 to 15 minutes and you are quite busy. But I did want to ask you, uh, what's something that you're looking forward to the fight? Because obviously it's I guess this one's like a long time coming.
Um, Very much so being able to perform in front of my home crowd.
Yeah.
I haven't like I think I've had 16 fights, and out of the 16 fights, I've only had 4 on the Gold Coast, which
Oh
is where I
wow.
live. So to be able to, and like I always have a lot of friends that love to support me, but they're not going to travel far to support me for boxing in that regards.
Yeah.
So to be able to say to them, hey, I've actually got a fight on the Gold Coast for a couple of titles, it's very special. And to be able to do what I've been working on all this time, it yeah, it's just kind of makes it a little bit nicer to be able to do that in front of a home crowd because I haven't been able to do that for a little while. And yeah, so that's one thing I'm really, really looking forward to. And also seeing this promotion kick off and do some good in on the Gold Coast in the southeast Queensland area.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it'll be a great fight, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe the night's going to be pretty good, and my opponent Maureen, she's come with her own fair share of experience as well. So I'm pretty excited to see our two worlds collide, basically.
yeah. I hope you do well on the night, and I hope you get the win.
Thank you very much for that.